the trees on community lands. It is not in a private land, particularly the government-owned lands, and there are communications coming. Okay, the private land. This is now we are getting into the agroforestry component. Though the component is the agroforestry term is new, but traditionally we follow agroforestry in a time immemorial. And the agroforestry, we have two important components. One is the traditional as well as a modern component. The traditional components is quite common. We know that it is a tree, crop, and livestock. It's a major three components. And the subsequent we essentially concentrate on the 6 F's. That is the fodder, food, fertilizer, and fiber and fuel. Whereas in the modern agroforestry is having the component of microclimate modulation, biodiversity conservation, carbon sequestration, protective water resource, and soil. It is not social erosion; it's a soil erosion. It's a pollution control. The agroforestry is having a commercial context where we have a pulp-based agroforestry and timber-based and willow-based. The willow is essentially the high area, hilly regions where they make the regions where the poplar and other willow species being planted. The pulp-based thing will be, I think, commercial agroforestry will be detailed, discussed by our colleague, my good friend Chalian in the subsequent speech. I just would like to give a glimpse of the forestry and agroforestry in Indian scenario. Around 329 billion hectares of land over a forest. Tamil Nadu is having 17.6% only. It is a total 24.16. This is the recent Forest Survey of India data. And the productivity is as low as it's a 0.5 to 0.7 cubic meters per hectare per year. It's National Forest Policy 1988 and the National Agriculture Policy, Agroforestry Policy 2014, and Forest Conservation Act 1928. 1980 is also concentrating more on this. Again, the growing wood demand, particularly domestic, that's fuel, fodder, fiber, and timber, and industrial wood, particularly pulp, plywood, and match veneer and energy. This is one of the key sectors where the wood requirement is more. And the total wood demand is around 152 million cubic meters, in which the short rotation is 87.7, whereas the long rotation crop, which is a timber, is 65.1 million cubic meters. And again, we have a huge climate change risk for which the entire globe is debating on day-to-day basis. Whereas the wood demand is also keep on increasing. The data is little old, like 2020 data. We have multiple industries depending on the forestry sector, like paper and board, newsprints and rayon, great pulp, and construction industry, packaging industry, agriculture implements, sports, plywood, veneer, safety matches, that's matchbacks, mining, and again a miscellaneous industries like artisans, like the tie makers. All those industries are totally depending on this forestry sector. In this scenario, we just look at the kind of imports what we made. You know, it is on a US $1 million. You know, in the year 2013, we are around 2,745 million US dollars of wood logs have been imported from various parts of the world. This is a small glimpse on the budget outlay, how much budget we are getting in the forestry sector. It is up to the 12th budget, like in 20, after that it is re-christened in the different name. And the budget outlay is again very, very meager when compared to all those things. It is the 11th and the 7th budget, it got around 1.1, 1.3, and subsequently it is reduced drastically in the 10th budget layout and little better in the thing. And currently it is also happening. In the agroforestry system, there are very successful system is also been seen in various part of the country, particularly the well-established agroforestry practices being done in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. And Gujarat is one of the model states where they do a lot of innovative steps, which is having particularly the district Anand. They have done a very tremendous. They consider to be one of the best agroforestry models in the world. And they call it as a local walking scheme introduced in Madhya Pradesh in the year 1999, aims to empowering the farmers to manage the degraded forest land. This initially was introduced to 3 districts, and later it was 10 districts, and now it is around 45 districts. 45 area blocks. It's been expanded, in which the Madhya Pradesh government has received the Krishi Karman award continuously for 5 years and successful increase of food grain production as well as the tree. I think this is what I'm trying to say. There is a Lokvani, other system is a Wadi system. This is essentially the agri-silvi hardy combination. The agroforest in Gujarat has become one of the most successful greening programs in the world. And in particular, the Anand, a non-forest, the forest district, the Gujarat has got a canal irrigation thing. They got a very good progress, which is having a very highest density of trees in the non-forested areas. It is almost like a forested area they developed. In this context, we are again the streamlining various practices. We are giving a policy framework that has come. That is how the agroforestry policy came into existence. That is essentially concentrating on the productivity, profitability, diversity, plus sustainability, and concentrating on the livelihood aspects. We know that the land holding pattern is quite fragmented. It's less than 2 hectares of land in which we have to increase the productivity as well as increase the profitability for the farming community too. The agroforestry policy is also having having the aim and the concept of increasing the crop cover over 25 million hectares to 53 million hectares. That was a target fixed, as we have the target of having the 33% of the forest cover total area. That is again the crop area also having the target. Let us have just a brief, quick glimpse on this genesis of national agroforestry policy. It is not just like that came into force. You know, we have to get back to the 1988 National Forest Policy, which envisages all the involvement of the people in the forest management, and subsequent to that, the National Agriculture Policy in 2000, and the Task Force on Green India is in 2001, and National Bamboo Mission in 2002, and National Policy on Farmers is again 2007, Green India Mission 2010. And this is a long journey in which the agroforestry policy has been drafted and implementation. So in various programs, a lot of initiatives being done and a lot of fund allocation has been done for the National Bamboo Mission. There is the TANUDA, the Tamil Nadu, the Horticulture Department, huge initiative in a greening program. What is the need for an agroforestry policy? Let's understand that why it is just suddenly it came into existence. Primarily, the absence of institutional mechanism, the lack of integrated farming approach. Though we have the models here and there, because there is integration is required, and the restricted regulatory regime. There is a lot of hardships for the farmers who are getting into a kind of the tree growing. At the time of harvesting, they kind of find a lot of issues, particularly the transportation, getting the transit permit. It varies the state to state. The state legislative forest department have a lot of restrictions in the species and as well as the quantity and other stuff. And insufficient research is another area where we need to have a clear that data with site specific, species specific, or clone specific, planting stock or superior quality material for the farming community or the stakeholders is very much essential. And another thing is the lack of quality stock, planting stock. That's what I am mentioning now. And institutional finance. And another aspect is the farming communities again and again, they indulge into a lot of debt, and they look for a kind of the institutional financial support. They go to the kind of they go to the extent of getting the insurance for their own tree cover, as in case of other area. And the last point is in a kind of the organizing the market availability, the weak market access. Access is in the farming communities doesn't have any clue about the market dynamics, how it operates and how it works, and a lot of middleman involvement is there. That is why they're not able to sell a lot of their products in the due time. And this has also been grossly taken in account, which is the basis for the existence of this agroforestry policy. The benefits of agroforestry is productivity primarily, and microclimatic moderation, the resilience of the landscape, the carbon sequestration potential, and greater employment and income generation. Indian Council of Agriculture Research, through the All India Coordinated Research Project on Agroforestry in the year 1893, they did a lot of a very comprehensive scale. They have done it, in which they were created a National Research Center for Agroforestry in the year 1988 in Jhansi. Now in this program, they made around 30 research laboratories, and they tried to integrate the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme with the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Labor Ministry. They together, the allocated fund is being used for making this kind of agroforestry system in the community and public lands and make available to all other related activities. Primarily, they were thinking about making 20 common fast-growing species in on-climate ranges throughout the different agroclimatic zones as the physiogeographic zones of the country. And the institutional financing and reaching out the farmers, that's more important. The institutional financing, the financial support, the crop support programs, and with the proper institutional support, and the reaching out the farmers in terms of the farmers mela and the farmers meet, and the research, whatever you are taking up, it should be on-farm in the terms of on-farm trials and demonstration trials. And there is a lot of a concern in the farmers' perspective. We know that is they always find this is a long rotation. That's one of the prime criteria. Whereas that is why the agroforestry and the tree species, whatever we are working on, it is essentially a short rotation with the industry-specific institution, primarily 4 to 5 years harvesting age. And the reduction of grass area is another one of the concerns expressed by some of the segment of the farming community. And the legal formality, this is what we have just mentioned, is the legal means, that is a transit and other related issues. And they find a lot of fluctuation in the market. Even though they are going ahead with the industrial requirement, at the time of harvest, what is committed or what is the harvesting time, there is find a lot of fluctuations. At the time of planting, embarking on the plantation activity, the market was very high. At the time of harvest, there is no, the minimum support price kind of support is existing for this. These are the very pertinent concerns is being expressed. Let us look at the kind of initiatives being made in the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, and in particularly promotion of the agroforestry activities. Tamil Nadu is one of the pioneering states in the country, the creating agroforestry thing. Not now in the way back in the social forestry scheme and time itself, by which the TCIP, the tree cultivation incentive program, and TCEP, the tree crops extension program under the CEDA project. And subsequently, they gone for the TCPL, that is the tree cultivation in the private land program funded by the JICA, under the Japan funded project. They have a very huge extension program in the existing almost all 32 districts. This is how they organize the kind of seminars, workshops, and exposure visit to the farming community, particularly those who grow the trees. They form the tree growing associations in the various districts. They meet, particularly in the place where I am dwelling, that's Coimbatore. They have a permanent meeting time, and every 6th of the month they meet and discuss and exchange the views and opinions. They call the specialists, now the products, the value addition, all lot of issues have been discussed over there. Moreover, the part of their program, what they do is they take the farming community to visit their successfully implemented programs in different farming lands. Seeing is believing. Once they see and they will do and they will mimic, they will imitate whatever being done, and which the department is playing a lot of the interfacing role in this propagation of things. And look at the kind, they are far away, not only within Tamil Nadu, they have been taken to the Jamnagar, Hyderabad, where a lot of interesting forthcoming farmers, they have done it. The tree demonstration plots also they have done, not only in their extension centers, also they have incorporated the farming community in their own private lands, they have done it. Various models, particularly some of the species, the Islanthus excelsa, Azaradita indica, Miliotibia, Cashernam, with the Chilean background. These are all very industry specific species. Islanthus is a very important species for safety matches industry. And Cashernam, this is extensively being consumed in the pulp industry and all other agricultural crops. It goes very well. And some other crops too, like in the Tectonosphere, the grand is the long protection crop, is also being combined with the Islanthus excelsa and sorghum and sugarcane, onion, and vegetables combination also being done. These are all done in the private lands with the support of the forest supply thing. This is how the pulp and paper, that's what they sell, the commercial agroforestry. I think Chalin will talk in detail on this. I'm just giving the statistics on that, how and there are around 800 paper and board units exist in the country. The per capita paper consumption is around 9.9 kilo. That is again the global consumption is 54 kilogram, and we consume around only 9 kgs. But still, we are trying to make it a lot of digitization work is being planned, and it is being advocated all the public sector institutions. The pulpwood demand is 5.4 million tons. The current supply is just half of it, like 2.7 million tons. There is around 48% shortage is there. The projected demand is around 7.98 million tons. The paper industry growth is keep on increasing various our scheme or Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and extending the reach out to the rural villages. All these countries keep on increasing. Then another industry is the veneer and plywood. The 50% of the world production, India is producing the plywoods. The veneers is being produced, and plywood is around 30%. And we have around over 2,000 small scale plywood industries in our country. The requirement of wood is around 12 lakh tons per year. The almost face veneers totally we are importing. Only core veneer we are making with the domestic supply, and the face veneer, which is very commercially very important, we are that's what the data says, that we are 100% we are importing. Again, the power sector is another area where we look for lot of raw material. Essentially, all things have to come from this agroforest systems to sensitize the area how much demand it has in their respective sectors. Average electricity consumption is 1,000 kilowatts, and peak electricity demand is again increasing by 13.3%. The installed power capacity is around 1,70,000. The demand 2030 is visualized like 9,50,000 watts. The Tamil Nadu, we have around 33 industries looking for a huge material. This is again another very indigenous industry existing in our Tamil Nadu. We make around more than 80% of the safety matches in the country is being produced in Tamil Nadu. We are pioneer. We are a pioneer in this trade, and we export more than 60 to 70 countries, starting from Europe to Africa to North American countries. And lack of a raw material supply, which is we started the industries or companies started negotiating with various countries and started importing almost 40 to 60% of wood poplar. Before the First World War, no indigenous material was used. Mostly everything they were imported from various parts of the world, like Manchuria, Japan, and all Sweden and other things. Due to the First World War and Second World War, then the entire import was stopped, and they started using the indigenous material, islanders, Excel, islanders, Typesa, all other indigenous softwood species they tried, they made it. But now, due to the crisis, they're again going for the popular in the liberalized time, and they're getting a lot of material outside the world. And timber resources and housing, furniture, these are the other areas. We have a durable, we have a huge demand of 5 million cubic meters of wood is required. This is a small plantation, and we have alternately industrial wood genetic resource. Particularly, we have Melia dubia is being widely popularized in the area. And another species is Acrocarpus fraxinifolis is a species which is being tested in a research institution now in TNAU Forest College. And the popular delta is, we know, the northern part of the country, they are using extensively. Dalbergias is one of the very promising species as far as the timber is concerned. And the Neolamakia kadamba, this is one of the best material which was initially used in a large scale in the pencil industry. Subsequently, it is being used in plywood and other industries. Malaina arborea is a moderately long rotation crop, but still it is an alternative to teak they are using. These are the alternative species we have in this field, and we do have the biophyllal species too. Calophyllum, Monophyllum is one of the dry evergreen species, and these are the species which already introduced. Azarveta is well within our own tradition system. There are the profitable, so to say, a kind of successful agroforestry model exists in different parts of our country, as well as in different agroclimatic zones of Tamil Nadu. The cashew nut groundnut, cashew nut cowpea, Melia casuarina, Melia banana, Milia, papaya, all these, the islanders, brinjal, all these crops, farmers on their own mechanism they developed, and they are making a good profit out of it. There is an initiative, huge initiative. I would like to share with the audience. There is a consortium of industrial agroforestry being initiated by the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University Metropolitan Campus. It was a very innovative approach with the support of the industry partners, industries, nurseries, farmers, and NGOs, scientists, and research laboratories, all put together. They may almost around 136 members they have. They frequently meet, they have a consortium, they discuss each other, they work out how best they can go, that they know in the fingertips which crop is being grown in which area, how much harvest they will get in the due course of time. And I'd like to give some of the work being initiated in our work past 2 decades in our institute, Institute of Forest and Tree Breeding. My colleague and friend, Dr. Bhuvneshwar, is intensively involved in this agroforestry research with the supports of the various supporting agencies from NABARD to State Planning Commission to National Medicinal Plant Board, and with including the in-house projects, funded projects. There is a two different system we worked at. Particularly, one is a Kashuna-based agroforestry system. This model is being identified one of the best success stories and forest research support program that is called FOSPA in Asset region, Bangkok, Thailand, and that's in existing and that's there in Thailand, and included in the compendium of success stories applied in the forest research. The Kashuna-based agroforestry system is one. Look at the kind of benefit. There is a economics also worked out. There is a profit. The shuttle rotation period is within a short period, 4 years. I will just give the glimpses. There is another alternative, is a peak-based agroforestry system. One is the Kashuna. Both the system was compared, and not only in terms of economical return, in terms of nutrient cycling also being worked out. Nutrient cycle, how much it is being cycled, the productivity of nutrient dynamics of agro system, particularly peak and Kashuna-based system. So we essentially work with how much being absorbed, carbon is being assimilated, how much is being restored to the land. This is what worked. With this, we get to the decisions around the peak-based, the uptake, total uptake varies in nutrients. So 63 to 83% was retained in a non-photosynthetic biomass under the peak black gram agroforestry model, whereas in the Kashuna model, it's 42 to 77% of total uptake, and the rest returned to the soil. It shows again that Kashuna is the most efficient nutrient cycling process. That is how the FOSPA, the Asia Pacific Institute in Thailand, they consider this one of the best things. Apart from that, we have worked on the concentrated mode of the participatory agroforestry for habitat elevation and habitat restoration. It was a UNDP funded project under the FAO, and it is exclusive and appointed district comprising of 30 villages. These are the various models being worked out. The teak along with sugarcane, teak with Kashuna. We provided mostly technical support, and the one is of course, and when the farmers are in the nowadays, they were in the beginning, they were having a lot of apprehensions going in with the tea crops, whether it is going to help them in terms of economy or not, and the site selection, what kind of soil, what kind of all species matching, everything is being supported. What are the learnings? We had a huge learning from this kind of thing. Yeah, this project facilitated to enhance institutional capability. This is the Shanti Asaran, who was the fund, the donor, who was a recipient of this fund, and which IFGD has played a consultant role. And soil land use maps have been prepared and provided technical guidance about more than 1 lakh seedlings and planting stock in different species, including silvi horticulture species being given. And the training of nursery technology, one of the key issues where the women folk have been trained. Enhanced technical capabilities through training, field research, technical capabilities to training, field training are being given. We help in fact promote an organization skills, particularly participatory rural appraisal programs and the tree grower associations, just trying to bridge the gap between all the essential groups, and started creating the village nurseries, particularly with the modern outlook, like creating the polytunnels and shade nets, all the maintenance, how we have to do the cloning material, clonal technology also being trained to them. I mean, there is a technical guidance for specific group like women, that's unemployed youth. There are two important categories have been targeted. There is another species with Acacia manjum. This is in the part of Kerala part. We took it and we have made this is also we made a lot of selections. This is near Trivandrum and Tamil Nadu also we did. This is a project we support with the support of the State Planning Commission. We did with the manjum and Tamil Nadu Western Zone and the Southern Zone of Tamil Nadu. We have seen the species, the pure species as well as the hybrids. The various agroforestry models, establishment of agroplants plantation with the medicinal plant board, that is the NMPB with the support, the neem green gram, neem black gram, neem cowpea, neem sorghum, all these there's two categories of yield have been assessed with pruning and without pruning, and look at the kind of yield variations. This is one of the key flagship program. What we did is that the evolution of a cashew nut with the establishment of windbreak in the farm's land, the western zone. Yeah, during the windy period, the southwest monsoon, there is a huge catastrophe, like kind of stuff. You know, the planting, the banana planters is get into a kind of a huge economic loss due to the collapse of their planting, heavy wind blow. IFGDB has made a very exclusive selection of windbreaks. That is the species in Cashana epiciticola. There is another variant that is a Cashana junguniana. It is an ideator breeding. That is, breeding has done exclusively from Agrofarm system. Whereas we released some of the clones, we made a very successful in a particularly western. It further extended to Kaveri Delta zone 2, which is having a very special characteristics of a branching ability, which is having its wind velocity being reduced drastically, and subsequently it has been other thing. Look at the kind of observation which is revealed. The crop lodging was prevented, and inside the windbreaks, there's also yield of the gram, red gram particularly was 1.5 times of that was observed outside the windbreak. There's a difference in crop yield too. The windbreak, the crop productivity, water productivity, qualitative improvement of produce, sustainability, and climate change resilience. All these aspects is windbreak. The Cashew clone is one of the very successful program. It went up to the clonal release level, which is accepted by the Ministry of Environment and Forests. And development of integrated dry land and agroforestry system in Tamil Nadu for enhancing livelihood opportunities. It's another initiatives. And where the Tamil Nadu various crop pattern, malina, banana, sugarcane, islands, excelsa, media dubia, various species with the different permutations being approached. These are the developed agroforestry systems in Tamil Nadu. The kind of 3-year growth of cashew nut in the wide row, allied cropping system in Mallan village in Ramanathan Taluk, where is the Ramanathan district. This is what we made one of the things. And this is a Mudugulathur Taluk. The cashew nut Zunguniana is being planted in the border plantation. The agroforestry interventions also been done in conserving not only the productive, the conservation aspect also. One of the indigenous agroforestry system exists in the Kangayam system, that is a Korangadu silvipastoral system towards border security. We conserved CPTs being identified, the Acacia leucoploia, which has been traditionally grown in this particular silvipastoral system. We made a huge inroad in this genetic conservation of the species. Apart from that, Azadirata India is another species with the support of the Neem World Neem Network program, and we developed very promising neem clones, which is we assembled in our own research nursery. IITD is around 12 clones, high clones. We have assembled with the IITD 11. This one is having an 80% survival, and which is the crown width of 2.7. The higher the crown width, the higher the potential of food yield. This is another the island clones is being tried in the Ramanathan district along with other crops. These are the couple of success stories. Success stories the farmers are on their own. IFGDB is having a huge farmers network through which we disseminate as well as impart our transfer of technology. They are the ambassadors. They take our technology. They frequently visit and interact with our own scientific and technical personnel. and in which they also contribute. They voluntarily come forward and showcase their own programs in that thing. In which one of the farms in Coimbatore district and Chandra Garden is having more than 20 species, different species in the garden. They go to various research and they get access to the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, Tamil Nadu Institute of Forest Journalism and Tree Breeding, IFGTB, and TNAU, and they have their own forum. They, in fact, some of the farming people are quite educated. They, in fact, attend kind of international conferences. They come out with a lot of innovative ideas. They exchange. This is a kind of a mutual learning, and we give in back. They also share the experience. Couple of our farming friends or farmers friends, just they traveled in Nigeria and Sierra Leone, and they are working close in hands with some of the African national state forest departments too. They played a role of consultants as well as they get a material. There are a lot many learning experience always we get from this kind of progressive farmers. And this is another, the Kailasamurthy, the agroforestry model is being done in the collegial area. And now we get into the kind of the constraints and prevailing in the implementation of agroforestry practices. We have a policy in our hand. We have a long traditional approach. We have a success stories. We have a states which is having a very glorified success stories. Still, we are a lot of areas we need to address in a different forums. Particularly, one is the technological constraints. Number two is the constraints, the legal provision. That is what we already spelled out as the regulatory mechanisms. Number three is the marketing constraints. This is one of the very key issues. Farmers is embarking on a huge ambition or expectation. Putting their own inputs in terms of energy, money, as well as labor, and finally the market is ultimately decides for the sustenance of this particular practice. And parallelly, the other specific any other constraint, we will look at this constraints and challenges one by one. The technological constraints, as we know, the non-availability of quality planting material in time. It may be available, but in time it is very difficult, and this is what one of the key areas is technological constraints. Non-availability of micro irrigation facilities for tree crops. They are looking particularly for the subsidized thing as it is being given for other crops. The pest and disease resistance management is one of the issues. In Madhya Pradesh and other places where they, particularly, I know one place is Islandus excelsa. It is chronically affected with the two major pests. One is an Eligma narcissus and Ativa fabricilla. They would like to grow the species very well because it is coming up very well. But apparently they are worried about the pest, whether the tree pest is again going to devastate their own agricultural crop. This is what their another worry is all about. That is why they are not going for this. And until otherwise we address on those pest and disease issue of the tree crop, it is very unlikely to go in the intensive agroforestry system in particular locality. Non-availability of proper agroforestry technology for problem soils in another area where the salt, solid soil, saline soil, and acidic and all the areas. It is there kind of we don't that is what we need to have a very site-specific solutions is being sought of. Non-availability of proper agroforestry models. The models, though we talk about so many models here and there, and some of the models, what is say the hands-on models has to be given. If they're able to tell the soil type and soil the qualitative data, we should be able to tell the models what are the combination of species they can go on. Number 6 is the non-availability of labor and high labor wages. This is one of the very key, one of the areas where we've been being debated in various political and other forums. Now in social media, it is being widely debated, and it is apart from that is the constraints in the legal provisions and regulatory mechanisms. Delay in issuing the harvest transportation permit for forest. Again, as I was telling you, it is a lot of issues in this, and state forest department is liberalized to various issues. Various species also included. Some of the schedule, they rescheduled the tree species in the list so that the farming community shouldn't feel any difficulty in transporting the material. But essentially there is a transit permit has to be essentially obtained from the forest department. It has to be, I think, it has to be addressed to. Number two is the tax imposed on agroforestry products. Again, it's a value-added products. They wanted a kind of tax exemption as in the case of other other agricultural crop. They wanted to get this kind of thing. Impose a regulation on the sale on some of the trees products, particularly sandal and red sandals. The sandal and red sandals is again comes under the CITES in an international trade thing. It is a very now at least the sandal, the cultivation is being liberalized in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The farmers are growing sandal tree in their farmlands. Earlier that was not there, but only thing is the harvesting procedure is a little with the hands of the forest department. We have to intimate them. They will come and harvest. They will keep their respective ground. They will payment is made in different schedules. Our farming communities are facing a lot of hardship in that. And red sand is a lot of curiosity is being created and a lot of farmers because we are hearing a lot of other stories. It's not positive stories. A lot of smuggling and farmers being shoot out. The one-day species where farmers, the poachers have been killed is the red sand. A lot of material is being exported illegally, cut illegally. And a lot of the positive point is a lot of nurseries are came into existence with the red sand seedlings, so 1 meter taller seedlings, which is a huge rate. They are started minting when the curiosity is coming in, and people, particularly Ramanathapuram and similarly Pudukottai district and the Ambur and other areas, a lot of red sand planting where people are interested, where the tri tax are there, they are doing it, and the regulations has to be ratified in this area too. The lack of awareness about the rules and regulations. This is again one of the areas. A lot of sensitization is required, and both the department and the farming community in their regular periodical meetings, they have to essentially talk on those issues. It has to be publicized to the user agency, particularly farmers need to know, irrespective of their academic background and education qualification, they need to know what is the thing. These are the people, they are grassroots level, they need to understand what is the things are existing there. The marketing constraints another area where the exploitation of the middleman, lack of market information. The market dynamics is very, very highly dynamic and it's highly fluctuating, which is sometimes it's natural, sometimes it's artificial. But again, there is a third party involvement is required, whereas either government or state has to essentially involve in them in making two parties win-win situation. Both have to get their own respective share. Your market is essential. Market is looking for raw material. Your farming community, your producer is always you're flooded with the material. Sometimes the match is not being done due to various obvious conspicuous and very reasons. Again, the lack of infrastructure facilities. This is what, as in the case of agricultural produce, a lot of infrastructure infrastructure facilities being created. This is what need to be extended to the agroforestry crops and value-added products too. They are looking for the kind of facilities from the state and the government agencies. Apart from that, some of the other constraints what we are saying is the lack of organized farming interest groups. They wanted to have a cooperative kind of farming. In particularly Andhra Pradesh, particularly Ongole district, Ongole and Prakasam district, they have a farmer cooperative society. In agriculture crop, they have done it in some of the areas, particularly turmeric cooperative society is there. And some point of time they are working very together, and after some time they have a different the kind of negotiation which is not in the scheme of things. Sometimes it is not continued for longer period. And the lack of institutional linkage with the line department, that's another thing. It is gradually picking up, and it is unlike the last decade, particularly the 2000 to 2010 to 2011. I have personally witnessed in a lot of enthusiasm institution. We volunteer in our institution. I know TNAU and forest department. We collectively work together in organizing the farming community and making a lot of linkages. We in fact invite them in our most important meetings. Non-availability of subject matter specialists. This is one of the key issue where the subject matter specialist and species specialist being identified, and the person is with a one-point program. It is not like shunting people here and there and go and get the material like that. It is one species, one area means there will be kind of 20 people are being nominated for 20 different species. There will be species specialists. There will be exclusively working for more than 10 to 20 years, starting from the scratch, like genetic combing to a release of clones. This is a story how they work on this. Now this broadly been addressed. A lack of adequate publicity in agroforest publicity. This is what we have seen previously. And now non-availability of credit facility. This is institutional finance support. It is being envisaged in the agroforestry policy itself. And there is another important area is that where the tree crop protection. We have seen that plantain, particularly bananas, a lot of catastrophes happen, particularly those who invested huge money, they lose the entire crop. There is no a proper or adequate compensation is existing. Instead, now the farmers, those who have gone for this kind of windbreak clones as a wind barrier, they got their crop protected. Subsequently, they got a additional income value addition for their own, I think. This is how we are thinking, and we have to look at the kind of thing. Now we are, it is a time to treat from a species-centric approach to clone-specific agroforestry systems, in which, unlike broadly, we tell that go with the species, sandal and island, there's Melia dubia or Melia Malina arborea, and we are coming out, we are a lot of scientific research inputs getting in, and a lot of development has come up. That specific clones are being identified with assumed productivity. This is what, as a research organization, as Apex Research Organization of Ministry of Environment and Forests, and we work in different parts of the country, particularly all different research institutions work, and we come out with promising clones for the user agency, particularly farming and industrial needs. In order to achieve the goals of the National Forest Agroforestry Policy 2014, improving the farmer's access to quality planting strong material is one of the key strategies in which we, particularly our institute, is involving intensively and producing. Maybe coming years, we will be doing a lot of clone specific, as we are getting other crop, particularly we call it a name, and we don't go and simply buy a rice in the market. We will specifically tell that we want this particular brand. Like that in a tree species, particularly agroforestry perspective, we will give whatever short rotation, whatever long rotation, high productive clones, we will try to reduce the rotation age, and the productivity is also we will try to increase. This is how the research lines are going on. With these all slides, I think I am concluding my slides. Now, I grossly thank the organizer, particularly the organizing directors, for inviting me for this very important meeting. That too, we are in the midst of the global climate change negotiations going to be held in the next month, in which India is going to take a huge part along with the United Kingdom. Now, I'm concluding my talk, Dr. Stalin, and I think it is open for discussion. If there is any questions, I will try to answer all those. Thank you.
Perspective of National Agroforestry Policy 2014. Sir, you covered different types of forestry, very particularly urban and socio-economic forestry. You clearly focused on various nationalized agroforestry policies, sir. Apart from that, you elaborately discussed about various construction challenges, the implementation of agroforestry. It is very informative, sir. Once again, I thank you for your astonishing and cherishable speech, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
So we are having questions from the participants. Shall I ask that? Shall I ask the question? First question. Sir?
Sir, please unmute. Shekhar sir, please unmute.
Tell me, sir.
Yes, sir. Shall I read the question, sir?
No, somehow the audio is not very clear to me. There is a lot of echo is coming. Voice is coming back. My voice is coming back.
1 minute. Sir, 10 minutes.
I have seen a couple of questions. Can I try to answer those questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One question is that which species is suitable for waterlogged area? Okay. Waterlogged area. In fact, particularly the Acacia nilotica is being widely planted in the waterlogged area. Particularly, we can see a lot of tank beds and tanks. This species is being hardy species being done. There is another question is a red sand is related. Red sand is question is there, and this the kind of public interest litigation is being done. One of the farmers from Krishnagiri, he has done a very extensive thing. He wanted to have his own farm grown red sand is to be cut, the permission to be given or something like that. Since the species is comes under the CITES, the Convention on the Endangered Species Trade Convention, India is a signatory, in which a government is giving a blanket plan, a ban on the cutting of this, and farmer community, those who are actively involved in promoting of this particular species. Now, I think there is no ban in cutting, but only thing is it has to be the sale. Who is the buyer? The buyer is a question. Who is going to buy the material? It is a question. They say that international market is having a huge value, whereas unlike other species, the market is quite it's not open as in the case. That is a one thing. The cutting is somewhat liberalized. Again, selling, we cannot outrightly say that this person will go and come and pick up a material either in a farm or other places. Okay. This is what I am trying to say as far as the red sand is concerned. I think we are over a heading. If there are any question, just tell me, sir.
Especially. Sir.
What I mean? Is there a
Okay,
question for me?
Sir.
There is a
research center, Kayilabram, Karur, and 4 branch nurseries situated throughout Tamil Nadu. Under his supervision, about 40 million nursery catching of seedlings and 10 million. It is one of country and it is on par with Monty Forest of South Africa. He is the right person to reserve the space on the topic of pulpwood tonal production and farm plantation. Let me invite Dr. Chedian to deliver his speech. Please, sir.
Good morning to all. Can I audible? Hello. Hello.
Your voice is clear. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, good morning. Yeah, this is a virtual conference. First of all, I thank Department of Agronomy, Annamalai University, Dean sir, respected Dean sir, respected Department of Head Agronomy, and my batchmates, Dr. Sushidharan, Dr. Stalin, and other colleagues. Thank you very much. Actually, Dr. Sagar explained about policy and the other research activities in the in-stock origin tree breeding. So actually, TNPL we do actually what exactly we are doing for farmers, and those things I want to explain in my presentation. So yeah, the world over, the pulp and paper production in the world can see the 407 million per year. Actually, 3 countries are the major production. One is China, the other topper, and US and Japan. These are 3 countries, the large paper producing country in the world. And they are the top 10 paper producing companies again. So in this list also India is missing. We are in the 15th position. Actually, Germany, Brazil, Finland, Canada, and Italy. And coming to Indian condition, so we are the paper making India 2 centuries old. India pulp and paper industry 15th position in the world, and in India 759 mills are there here and there, and the mills having capacity 15 tons per annum, more than 50 only. Coming to TNPL, everyone knows the government undertaking company promoted by government of Tamil Nadu, and we have 4 lakh tons printing and writing paper at Kagipuram TNPL, Karur, and 2 lakh tons. 2016 we have commissioned at the Montipatti Trichy, and the multi-layer double coated paper board company, and apart we have 3 lakh tons our waste sludge that. We have cement mill 3 lakh capacity at Kagipuram, Karur, and actually for our paper production we need 5 lakh tons pulpwood. We are sourcing from we have long-term tie with Afghan and Forest Division, and apart we have 70% wood we are sourcing from our own farm forestry plantation scheme. We have introduced our farm forestry plantations in 2004-5. From that, there we are having very clear-cut scheme, and I will explain later slides. And we have 1 lakh ton waste paper production being pulp facility also we are having. And coming to 2020, our wood requirement will go up to 12 lakh tons per annum. These are some awards and achievements. The most actually cement production increased 1 lakh ton. Overall water consumption contained 40 lakh chloride from paper. And IFMA Paper Mill of the Year Award 2015-16 from New Delhi 5 times we got it. And most innovative environmental project award and the CA Environmental Best Practice Award 2017. These are our further TNPL. And this is our growth. Actually, initial capacity 90,000 ton per annum, and later mill expansion plan 1.8 lakh tons, and 2003 2.3 lakh tons. 2018 we increased 2.45 lakh tons per annum, and again 2010 we increased to 4 lakh tons per annum. Again our mill expansion 2015 we reached 6 lakh tons per annum. This is our growth. And this is our pulp capacity, growth of pulp capacity. Initially, 1985, our requirement is only 195 tons per annum. Again, our 1996, 360. Now we need per day 1,200 tons pulp we need every day. So this is a bird's eye view of Unit 1, TNPL Kaiduvaram Karur. And this is our Unit 2, Mondipatti Board Unit, Trichy, 2016 we have commissioned, now under processing. And coming to our Chronal Preparation Research Center, 2008 we have commissioned. This is the setup of our art in the country. So as a actually chronal mini gardens and root technology, all those things we have implemented here. And this is one of the largest chronal plant production center in the country, on par with Mondi Forest, South Africa. And these are the facility we are having. Chronal mini gardens 5,900 meter square, and open CMA we have 41,000 square meter. Mist chamber, automatic mist chambers we have 13,000 square meter, and hardening chambers and open nursery we have around 70,000 square meter. And this is our aerial view of our nursery unit 1. The production capacity 20 million plants per annum. And this is our open CMA. This is our hybrid clones. Actually, cashew hybrid clones we are maintaining. More than 3 lakh mother plants we are maintaining. This is our chamber, cutting charging. In our all 5 nurseries, we are giving employment around 1,000 laborers. They are getting employment. They are getting a livelihood. And this is a heterogeneous clones we are producing in our nursery. These are the clones TNPL 191, 193. These are 2019 we have released. These are hybrid clones. Actually, Camaldensis Teticanis, and 192 is the Camaldensis Pelita, exclusively for gall resistant clone. And Camaldensis again industrial hybrid we have released. This is exclusively for dry land. See this actually productivity also we are increased, as well as we are increased pulp yield also. So the farmer is getting more yield and income they will get, and the company will get more pulp yield also, less area and higher productivity. This is a concept now we are working under. Similarly, IFGT we also released a lot of clones. In that IFGT for saline tolerant clone, and C7 274 and Metropolitan Forest they have released EC2 clone. These are the clones currently we are promoting to farmers. And these are the clones we are producing and we are supplying to farmers. And these are the cashew clones we are producing and we are giving to farmers. And this is CJ1, this is old clone 1996, they are released forest department. And still this clone is somewhat in the Walnut and their farmers are growing. And 2013 IFGT 3 program, they have released CJ9, that is a castor union of 2 species clone. Again, Metropolitan Forest, they have released MTP CJ2, that is also a good clone, 50 tons per acre. And Cashew equals to TNPL CE2, we have selected and we multiplied, we are promoting to farmers, high pulp yield clone. And again, 2018 IFGT released cashew hybrid clones, 4 or 5 clones. So we licensed and we got the clones and we multiplied the ramets and giving to farmers. Almost we are producing 40 million clonal plants, exclude these 4 clones alone. And these are high pulp yield as well as short rotation. 30 months itself, the yield also increases 60 tons per acre. And these are the GH1 to 5 clonal ramets. And apart from cashew eucalyptus, we are promoting Melia dubia, Dalbergia sisu, Acacia magim hybrid, and Lucuna lucasifola. These are the other pulpwood species also we are promoting. And so quite 2% only. Whatever farmer asking, they are we're giving these chronodiamonds, and these are the Melina and Sisu, Melia. These are the species we are promoting. And this is our bird's eye view of open nursery. So we can stack almost 60 lakh plants in our nursery at a time. This is a clonal dispatch, the farm plantation. And this way, a small data is we are dispatched to farmer's field, and one vehicle carry 20,000 plants to farm field, and root trainer, without any damage, we are dispatched to farmer's field. This is our production from 2004 to 2021. So we started from 3.35 lakhs to now. Last year we produced 350 million plants. See the variation. So we started 3.5 million to now we reach 35 millions. Current year our target is 50 million plants, quality clonal plants. We are produced and supplied to farm gate, and we are giving technical guidance also. So this is our unit 2 branch nursery. We are producing 10 million clonal plants, cashew nut hybrids. And this is our branch nursery, Tuar, the MS Madam, Ariyulur. Here we are producing 7 million clonal plants and giving to Ariyulur, Perambalur district farmers. And this is our Katrambakam, Viluppuram nursery. Here we are producing 10 million clonal plants and supply to Viluppuram and Kanjipuram, those Tiruvallur farmers. This is another Pudukkottai nursery. Here we are producing 4 million clonal plants and supply to Pudukkottai and Sivagai district farmers. This is our nursery setup. So totally we have 5 nurseries. This is actually unit 1 and 2. We are producing. We have bush chamber setup, and we are producing almost 50 million clonal plants and dispatched to through Tamil Nadu. And actually, the wood procurement resource in TNPL, actually, earlier I told that this government, so TAPCON, Tamil Nadu Forest Department, and other corporations, we are procuring some extent, so 35%, and remaining plantation sources within the, we have a tie-up with farmers, and we executed these schemes, 2 schemes, farm forestry and the captive plantation scheme. So this is our major source of raw material. And this is coming to farm plantation. So this is 3 years old cashew nut hybrid clonal plantation CH5. So the farm forestry scheme, actually we have implemented a scheme 2004-5. Actually the scheme for small and marginal farmers. Clonal plants delivered to farm gate subsidized cost. At currently we are selling to the farm 1 rupee 50 paise, including transport, and free technical advice also giving to farmers free of cost, and we are giving minimum support price for eucalyptus and other bulkwood species. Currently, eucalyptus we are giving 5,000 rupees per ton. Cashew nut we are giving 5575 per metric ton delivered at mill gate. And we are creating assured market and directed procurement from the farmers and payment also through RTGS. This is our operation area. So we have 4 zones: west zone, east zone, north zone, and south zone. So in this each area we have zone managers and officers. We have field supervisors, and this is our entire setup. We have 3 teams. One is production research, and another one is field establishment, and another one is procurement team. These 3 teams coordinating farmers, and we are helping. These are eucalyptus-based farm plantation. This is Pudukkottai, Ariyulur. These are all 5 years old dryland plantation. And this is a cashew nut-based farm plantation. This is CJ1, this is CJ9, and this is a couple. Actually, this man actually traditionally Sorkan grower. Actually, due to age constraint, this man want to grow cashew nut. Personally went explained. Within 2.5 years, he harvested 45 tons. Within 2 years, he harvested 45 tons, and he earned 1.5 lakhs. He is so happy. He cultivated in between vegetables and other pulses also. It's actually due to this non-availability of labor. So we went on semi-mechanized harvest. So we have power chainsaw harvest and debarked machine, mobile debarkers. So it's easy. We want to ease out the farmer to harvesting. So this keep on we are fine tuning. So this is what we are debugged the machines, and we are loading and we are taking output from to our factory. These are our debarking machines. So now we made it mobile debarkers. Then around Tamil Nadu totally we have 300 debarking machines are running to ease out the harvesting operation. So on this farm plantation to monitor effectively, we have cloud-based monitoring system, mobile-based monitoring system. So we developed and we implemented the highlights, the farmers' data, initial farmers' base data in the, we enter, and each and every active, right from planting to up to harvest, we'll document each and everything in the mobile base. And apart from whatever queries comes from farmers for silviculture operations based on disease problem, whatever they notice, they can contact us easy way, and we will support to farmers. And this is a real-time database system we are operating. And in the country, we implemented first of its kind in this approach, and it's doing very nice way. And this is a web server database system, and this actually 2004 to 2021. So we have covered almost see the figure 2004-5. We have started from 4,000 acres. We started, and now we reached 1.25 lakh tons. 1.25 acres we have planted through Tamil Nadu. So last 3 years, 2018, we have touched 22,000 acres, and 19 to 20,000 acres. 2021 also we are, the current year also we are working towards 22,000 acres. We want to sustainable pulpwood for our own requirement. We are executing this scheme, and we are procuring farmers can back the pulpwood. And this pulpwood procurement also equally, we are minimum 5 to 6 lakh tons directly we are procuring to farmers, and we are paying RTGS payment without any middleman. Coming to AFM models, agroforest models, Dr. Segar has explained very well. So I will give some glimpse. So actually, this model actually agriculture crop as well as this pulpwood crop parallel model system, and lot of system they implemented. Central Agroforestry Research Institute, they have implemented. So there is some models which quite encouraging farmers. So this is one model paddy I have seen in Khammam, Andhra Pradesh. This is paddy field equipment. So this is actually quite impressive model. So accommodated the border itself 2,000 trees per hectare. Wood is wood yield also equal block plantation. Actually, it is a natural situation all around the year. Is actually raising agriculture crop in 70% area is bonus. So in this model, so agriculture crop also we can cultivate, as well as tree crop also we can cultivate. Agriculture crop is a short money will available. Tree crop.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Sir, you can continue.
Hello. I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is AFM model. So this is actually nowadays lot of concepts, agri based, article based, silly based model. So nutrient, that is several models are introducing. And in Tamil Nadu, particularly, whatever the seeing is Western belt, they actually carry a
Sir, please share screen, sir. Network issue. Phone பண்ணுங்க சார், நெட்வொர்க் இஷ்யூஸ். அவங்க ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க சார். இப்போ கரெக்ட் நடுச்சு, இப்போ நடுச்சு கரெக்ட். இப்போதாங்க நடுவால.
okay. ஓகேங்களா? Sorry for the inconvenience. So actually, these are the benefits of agroforestry models. So tree act as a wind as well as insect barrier in the product agriculture crop, and it's reducing poverty through increased production agroforestry model, and high economic returns to the farmers, as well as this is the best suitable model for medium and small farmers. And we got FSC certification also. So in the actually we are the second paper mill we got this FSC certification. So total area we have certified 2,914 hectares, covering 64 forest management unit. And almost through our farm forest scheme, farm plantation, we have increased 0.6% forest cover in Tamil Nadu. So achievements so far actually 2014 to 15 to 2021. So we have raised to 1,20,715,000 acres under Team Build scheme involving 23,287. That's நான் ஷேர் பண்ணி தான் இருக்கேன். பாருங்க. பாருங்க பாருங்களேன். ஆயிடுச்சா?
ஆகல சார்.
சொல்லுங்க. ஷேர் ஆகுதுங்களா?
ஆகல சார்.
சரி.
అవ్వమ్మా స్పాట్లైట్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం ఏంది ఎవరెవరు వస్తున్నారు ఆయన రావట్లేదు
క్లోజ్ చేసినట్టు సార్.
ఫస్ట్ టైం ఆయన నెట్వర్క్ ఇష్యూ ఆయన మేక్ స్పాట్ లైట్ పెడుతున్నా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది స్పాట్ లైట్ పెడుతున్నా అరే పెడుతున్నా వెళ్ళిపోతున్నాయి
Hello.
Sir.
Now audible, sir.
Sir, it is audible, sir. But share your screen, sir.
Sir.
Screen share பண்ணுங்க sir.
Sir, share ஆயிடுச்சு sir. Now screen sharing. I have shared, sir.
It is not visible, sir. Sir, కీల గ్రీన్ కలర్ ఆప్షన్ లో and sir our network issue sir our network issue sir வீடியோ ஆஃப் பண்ண கூடாது சார் ஆஃப் பண்ணா வீடியோ ஸ்பாட்லைட் நீங்க வீடியோ ஆன் பண்ணு స్పాట్లైట్ పోస్ట్ చేస్తూనే వెళ్ళిపోతాను
Hello.
Sir.
Yeah, now shared, sir.
No, sir. It is not visible, sir.
Is it now it is visible, sir?
No, sir.
Will I continue?
Sir, you are visible, sir, but share screen is not visible, sir. Otherwise, you can continue that way.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. So, actually, plants produced and supplied சுரேஷ் இப்ப ஷேர் ஆகுதுங்களா?
இல்ல சார், இல்ல சார், ஷேர் ஆகல சார்.
ஆடியோ ஆஃப் பண்ணுங்க, வீடியோ வீடியோ ஆஃப் பண்ணு, ஆடியோ
சார் இப்ப ஷேர் அல்ல. Chilean sir, please unmute yourself. Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Screen share ಆಗೋದಾ sir?
Okay, sir. It is audible, sir.
Okay, sir. Screen share ಆಗೋದಾ sir?
ಇಲ್ಲ sir, ಇಲ್ಲ sir.
Okay. So, sorry for the inconvenience. So, by coming to this agroforestry models, actually in Tamil Nadu, so western side there people are mostly the forest crops, happy and other models, and Ariyallur, Adur, Viluppuram side, their pulses mostly they are going for pulses as well as vegetables also they are cultivating initial 6 months. So they get some remuneration. This is the regular practice they are following. And Coimbatore and Tirupur district, they are some
Network issue. People will share to your emails. Email. मैं नॉर्मल का वो क्या वो तार अंकल ये सुशी बना सारे जोड़ अंदर अन्य चेंज और
Am I audible? Hello.
Sir, you are audible.
Okay, shall I continue?
Huh?
Sir, shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, sorry for the inconvenience. A small this technical issue. This actually TNPL actually this implemented this practice in 2004-5. I want to conclude my speech. So from beginning, actually we have been as per national forest policy. 2000, that 1988 forest policy, each and every paper industry they have to produce their own raw material. So based on that concept, the TNPL introduced two schemes. One is farm forest scheme, one is captive forest scheme. The farm forestry scheme actually is farmers owned plantation that I have explained on shown all the plantation pictures. This captive forest scheme actually this is a company owned plantation. Actually, the wasteland and so we are serving to the farming community. So we implemented that farm forest scheme. Actually, that minimum support price and actually that supply cost we are supplying to. Am I audible?
Sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
So my side is a signal weak. Sorry for inconvenience. So this is what the plantation program we have initiated and we are supporting to the farmers. And initially, actually in the 90s, tree crop growing is untechnical. It's not agriculture. The farmers they are not technologies and all those things. So TNPL after TNPL intervention, we have given the support to the farmers, technical guidance, and we have properly that the spacing and the silviculture operations and actually biopic arrangement is what we are doing all the arrangements. Now we reach the position. Now we are we are planting. To see,
Sir. Sir.
yeah. So sorry for this. Actually, this internet on my side is weak. So I want to conclude. Actually, team is current year target actually 22,000 acres, and our 50 million plants. Yeah, we are our target. And as on date, we have produced almost 30 million plants. We produce and dispatch to farming community, and remaining 20 million plants. Remaining up to March, we are going to supply. Production is in process. So, over farmers, the needy people, please contact our assistant managers. I will name out and give the mobile number also. Actually, this farm plantation, giving one.
Welcome, Dr. KPS sir, KP Senthil Kumar sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Practice Technology.
Good afternoon. On behalf of organizing team, I obviously thank Dr. P. Chedian, Senior Manager, Plantation CNPL, for his excellent session on floral nursery, farm plantation, various schemes and harvesting methods, and apps for monitoring farmers. Thank you for your listening session, sir. Thank you.
I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. R. Officer, Assistant Professor, Coordinating Secretary, Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Annamalai University, to present the report of
National Conference on Challenges and Opportunities in Agroforestry for Sustaining the Rural Livelihoods, organized by Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Annamalai University. The opening session was addressed by Dr. K.R. Sundaravarajan, Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, Annamalai University, and declared the conference officially open at the end of his statement. The inaugural ceremony of the conference concluded with Samhita Yoga. The first keynote speaker, Dr. Raja Sugunasekhar, scientist, IFGPP, Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education, gave a brief overview of the agroforestry initiatives and the challenges in Tamil Nadu, perspective of National Agroforestry Policy 2014. After his presentation, Dr. C. Ravikumar acted as a moderator. The second keynote speaker, Dr. P. Chedian, Senior Manager, CNPL, explained the CNPL pulpwood, clonal production, and palm plantation. After his presentation, Dr. K.P. Sindhukumar acted as a moderator. A total of 140 people participated in the conference on online mode and offline. And I welcome Dr. V. Murugan to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for elaborated report of the conference. Now I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. G. Murugan, sir, Assistant Professor, Conference Director, Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Annamalai University, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning to you all. First of all, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our beloved dean, Dr. K.R. for raising this conference. Our sincere thanks goes to you, sir, for your official presence and also for your thought-provoking inaugural letters. Thank you, sir. We are extremely grateful to our former dean, Dr. N. Kanapudi, sir, for showing keen interest on the people, for his continued support, able guidance, and encouraging words in conducting this seminar, in conducting this conference a successful one. I wish to express my deep sense of gratitude and profound thanks to our beloved head of the department, Dr. Vinay, for the unswerving support, inestimable guidance, and architectural tech, which helped us to conduct this virtual conference a grand and successful one. We would like to thank you, sir, for your felicitation and results. We would like to thank our speakers, Dr. Raja Sugunasekhar of IFGTP and Dr. P. Chedian of the Tamil Nadu Paper Limited for your thought-provoking and lucid lectures on agroforestry and clonal production. My profound thanks to various committee members, teaching and non-teaching fraternities, PhD scholars, especially Vikram Sai, Navin Prasad, Uday Bharati, Rakesh, Divya, and the PG students for their selfless, sincere services, which paved the way for the successful completion of this conference. Above all, I wish to thank the participants who showed interest to register and participate more in number and make this virtual conference and make home. Any omissions therein, in spite of every effort to acknowledge and help rendered is inadvertent. Thank you and all. Thank you.
Now we are at the end of the session. Let us conclude this with our national anthem. Thank you, everyone.
Wait. Feedback forms. Feedback form adhe vittu. Thank you. Feedback form. Thank you. Divya, ఇది feedback form అట్లనే ఉంటది. జస్ట్ కరెక్షన్ చేస్తే అది డైరెక్ట్ ఆటోమేటిక్ అందరికీ పోతుంది. Thank you. ఇప్పుడు
నీకు చెప్పలేదా
అలాగే
కాంటాక్ట్